20 minutes time period.
We want to begin by congratulating Paul on writing the book. Paul's a man of few words, and he would kind of like to thank everyone for their support. Today, we are going to share our a little bit about ICE, a lot about ICE, the conference that staff went to. Remember, this type of meeting is really designed to just give you a lot of information in a very short time. So we're not going to be asking for questions or anything like that. It's really just a lot of showing. And you'll see the people who are sharing this information, because if you want more information about their site, you know exactly who to go to. They are the expert of that site. All right, right, Callie? She knows that site very well. So please be patient as we go through this. You can take some notes. If you can't take notes and listen quickly at the same time, someone will share their notes with you. We are also very grateful to Lynn and Mary Beth and Tim Higgins from Tech 25. He is recording this on a Google Hangout, so right now people will be able to see what I'm saying, and they'll be able to celebrate Paul's achievement. So keep your talking to a minimum, because everything you say will be picked up on the mic and someone will be able to listen to it later. All right. So I guess we can jump right in, and Lynn is first.
Okay. The challenge is, how do you condense a full day of learning, 6 different workshops, into 2 minutes? So, especially for me. So the first thing that I wanted to share with staff when I got back, I was really excited about it. It's TLDR, which stands for Too Long, Didn't Read, summarizes a web page, a Chrome extension. Fantastic, but it doesn't work anymore. Such is the nature of technology, right? Things don't work. So the next thing I shared with people was this message, and you know, in light of my presentation today, if I hadn't changed up what I was going to do, it would have been a disaster. But of course, this message reaches all of us on a deeper level. It came from a presentation called Redefining PD from a Waukegan school district, and they recently adopted the Google Apps for Education system. And we already use that in District 25. We collaborate and communicate by Google, so I'm really happy that today we're expanding that and doing a Google Hangout. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a presentation that reflects the theme of the conference, which was Makerspaces, Maker Movement. It was by Colleen Herman. You know, the basic principle, it's a mindset. We learn by doing and let students create their learning. She explained how to incorporate this into her classroom. It's not a private club, anyone can do it. And she gives in her presentation a very clear roadmap. What can you try? How can students try this? What supplies will you need? And she organizes her presentation. It's kind of lengthy, so I just picked a few slides from it into you know, low-tech options and all the way up to augmented reality. My biggest takeaway was video. I think video is the most powerful way to communicate, whether you're teaching, whether you're explaining something, whether you're demonstrating, or just entertaining. And I think we're lucky here at Westgate to have equipment so it's accessible to everyone to make videos, and I really hope you'll try it. Next up is Amy Arce and Sue Klarner, and they're talking about clickers.
So clickers are kind of a formative assessment tool, and every table today, if you're not at a table, then you can kind of join one, has a little card. And basically, instead of using kind of your traditional electronic clicker, you can give them this paper at the beginning of the year, you can even laminate it, and then whenever you want to collect data, you can have them answer using these cards. For today, we're going to try one little question for you. If your answer is A, you're going to just hold your card up to me, showing A at the top. If you think the answer is B, you're going to show me B. Continue C or D. Your question today is, have you used Flickrs before? So take a moment with your team, find one brave person. What's all I'm doing? Oh, sorry, A, that would be helpful. So A is yes, B, you're not sure, C is no. And then all I do is with my Flickr app, is I tell it to look for you guys. And it found number 4 already. Let's see. It's found table 5. It's not like in the shadow, but it found table 6, table.
Oh, that's cool.
And then what it basically does is it tells each kid, and then when I'm done, it'll tell me kind of everyone's response. And depending on what you put in there, you can also tell it to what the correct answer is, and you can get printouts of what's your students have responded to, and you can also save it. So I now know tables 5, 6, and 4 have done this or they haven't. Tables 1 and 7, they've done this. This is how they're thinking. And so just an easy way to collect data without having to get a lot of devices, without having to get a lot of tech. Yeah.
Does it have to be this big? Or?
No, I print it out big because when you use a big space, they recommend it. They also have it as small. It's about like 4 inches by 4 inches. Yeah.
And they also talked about whether you laminate it or not, and a lot of people don't laminate it because the shine on the, unless you have a special laminator that will do it matte.
We're out of time, so see ya.
Okay. But it's free. That's the good part.
That's awesome. Next up is Jen Carney with Seesaw.
Get me on there.
You're going to connect. All right.
It's on. Okay, I'll start talking. So this is Seesaw, and it is an online learning journal for students. It's the best thing that I took away from the ICE conference, and basically what it is it's a place for your students to document and reflect on their work. And so what you're seeing right now is my class calendar, and on every day that my students add things to their individual journals, it shows me what they've added. And so I can go into a student's journal, and it's divided into folders that I created for each curriculum area. They take pictures, videos, they connect things from what they've been working on the iPad, from other apps, they put it in there. It goes directly to their parents. The parents sign up and they get alerts on their iPhones and iPads. They can comment, they can like what their kids are doing. I can comment, I can like what their kids are doing, provide feedback, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the parents. They are just enthralled with it and say that their dinner conversations are more deep and rich, and they know what their kids are working on, and it's saving me time. I don't have to grade as much because I'm going on and approving their items before they go to their parents. Teachers approve everything, and they just added a voice option where you can leave them voice comments, and parents can leave them voice comments. So for non-readers, it's great for primer. It's really easy. Trish and I have been using it for 3 weeks, and it's probably the best new app that I've seen in a really long, long time. There's Seesaw swag on your table because I wrote to them that I was going to do this. They sent us this stuff, so take stuff with you. And if you want to learn how to use it, come and see Trish and I, and we will help you.
You know how to connect? The kids can record on there. Does that all go?
Yeah, it can. It pretty much anything you do on the iPads, the kids can add to their Seesaw journal. Yeah, PDFs, you name it, they can put it on there. Okay.
Amazing.
Nice job.
Oh, we need more iPads. Yeah, you need iPads. You need iPads.
Next up is Christy Cerniglia and Becky Kleist.
Okay, so we, go ahead, you talk, I'll flip.
Okay. We went to actually the biggest thing that we took away was the makerspace stuff that we saw. And these ladies had a great presentation, and the thing that I think both of us took from that was to start small and just do it. So we are going to be starting our makerspace in the LNC. We have a nice collection of stuff.
Okay, so keep sending it in.
Yes,
We'll take
please.
anything that you got.
We will. But some of the things that they had out, which I thought were really manageable, even in a classroom, would be like just a table, like a tinkering table they had, so that you could just have materials sitting on a table so that when the students are like done working with whatever, or if they have a few extra minutes, it gives them time to kind of get over there and tinker a little bit. Things like Legos are great to have in the classroom, dominoes, puzzles, things like that we don't really think about as having in school except for indoor recess, but I think that those are wonderful things to have sitting out for the kids to be messing around with. This is my favorite.
Oh,
Or you can clear out your classroom completely and we can do one of these mazes in there. That would be awesome.
I think Paul Stolar's class is amazing.
You already did that. But even something as simple as circuits, you forget that you have some of that stuff in your science kits in your rooms too, and just to put it out and let the kids mess with it is a really easy way to allow them to tinker within the classroom too. So we're gonna start with 5th grade this year, and then if that goes okay, it's during the lunch hour, so teachers don't have to do anything. We already have a sign-up sheet for kids who are interested. And then if that works okay, we're gonna go down to 4th, hopefully by the end of the year, and then we'll be able to keep moving next year. And we've talked about some different options with Kaz about how we might bring more mobile tinkering areas or maker spaces out to the kids in the school.
Ding,
So
ding, ding, ding.
in the works.
Awesome.
Okay, we're done.
Good job.
Want to share the other website also?
Yeah, while I'm up here. So I already sent this link out to staff, but I know sometimes you don't always check things right away. So just as a reminder, this was a really nice resource for coming up with different ideas for the kids to create something, whether it's a final project or even incorporating this into PL or into your science, social studies, whatever, writing units that you're doing. So just bookmark it and keep it on file because it's a good resource to have. That's it.
Next up is Kelly Darby.
Okay, so we saw this at a booth, actually, and we're all familiar with Brain Pop, but where are you? Corinne and I were blown away by the new options that are there. I've not had a chance to set up my own class now. Think of this as an Edmodo, but personally, I think it's better, right?
Yes.
You can get a dashboard, you can create quizzes, you can look at primary sources, there's games, kids can create games. The amount of resources that Brain Pop has now come up with are unbelievable. And I believe that we all have the accounts, the individual accounts. Do you have to set up the individual accounts? Okay, so if you go, Corinne has hers, if you go to Brain Pop Educator, it's the left. This is a site where, or this is a link that will have all the different resources, tutorials, videos, how to set up an account, how to set up a class, how to introduce your kids to the new student dashboards, your teacher dashboard. There's the things like the mixer, that's how you can create quizzes, and it's automatic feedback. It can be multiple choice, it can be short answer. What else? I think that's.
Yeah, I think the really nice thing about it is, if you're like me, I love Brain Pop because when I can't explain things well, I just show Brain Pop videos because everybody loves Tim and Moby. But it is like Edmodo on steroids now because you can assign kids the videos. You can have quizzes that go along with them, so it can be very individualized. If you have a kid that's working on a certain concept, but they're not like understanding a grammar concept, you can assign them that video. They have the activities that you can assign them that go along with it, and then you can either choose a quiz that's already been made, or you can modify a quiz that's already been made, or make your entirely like new quiz for them.
There's a whole set of lesson plans too. So like if you create a quiz, it's stored there. So then you can go and search what other teachers have done. And my time's up. Okay. And my time's up.
Nice job.
Yeah. So just explore.
Okay, so mine is very quick. It had to do with coding. I know Kelly has done a bunch with coding, but I am very new to it. I know we have Code Club and Hour of Code and those things. But I discovered Flappy Bird, which is good for the primary. It's a very basic code. It's free. You can go on. The computer is the easiest. And it just takes them through these 10 levels of basic coding and learning how to do interactive coding. I'm sorry. We did find some other sites too that you have to pay for. I have on my iPad World of Goo, which is actually something more for intermediate students that have a little bit more experience with coding, but it's very fun. I've been trying to work through it a little bit. And then there's even higher coding games that we discovered that if you want to know the names, you can come talk to us. But there was a school that presented that did interactive writing with the coding. So there is a game called Spores where they code and the codes evolve, and as they evolve they actually have to write biological narratives about why the codes are evolving, and it was very, very cool to integrate coding with literacy and some math components as well. So
even with Flappy Bird, there was one that they took Flappy Bird and they used that to write a fictional story, like the process, and they used the story chart, you know, the problem, all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of interesting how they tied that into it.
Okay. Next up is Kristen Gattuso.
I took away 2 websites that are sort of alternative search engines instead of using something like Google. One of them is Instagram, and this allows students' results to be seen as sort of like a concept map. So if I think this is great, especially for students working on like PL projects or doing that sort of research. Like I know I had a student researching hot air balloons. So the results come up in sort of like a concept map, but what I thought was great is it sort of pulls out right here key facts, and you can adjust the difficulty of them. So if I move this to the left, the key facts listed are at a lower reading level, but it could also be made more difficult. So this one, if you know, the first fact says hot air balloons were carrying people through the air almost a century before the Wright brothers were even born. But if I make it more difficult, it says hot air balloon being inflated by its propane burners prior to a Dawn launch, and you can go into a website that's obviously a little more advanced. There's also options for students to sort of bookmark and organize their findings using this website too. It was sort of marketed as more intermediate, but I think it's something that can be used at the primary level too. And then another website that could be used for research is IPL.org, and this is a safe, reliable search engine, but I thought the best feature is that you can ask a librarian. So if you click Ask an IPL to Librarian, you can, it requires an email address, but you can use a teacher email address, and a real human can get back to you, which again, for especially a lot of PL projects, would be really cool to hear back from a human.
Thanks, Kristen. Great. Next, Michelle and Matt are going to be talking about Prodigy.
By quick show of hands, who's actually using Prodigy in their classroom? Some of you. All right, cool. Prodigy is a math game, but it's kind of a fictional fantasy world where the kids compete in different missions in order to level up, and they travel to different parts of the fantasy world doing math. So first, the students create an avatar, which you can see here. They get to choose the appearance, the name, and their special powers. And then the teacher assigns missions to each kid, and these go along with the Common Core, and it goes from 1st grade all the way up to 8th grade. So you can assign, you know, if you're working on adding or subtracting fractions or dividing decimal, you can assign certain missions to them. And that's the questions they have to answer in order to beat the other avatar. And then through beating them, they're able to level up. They're able to build houses, unlock powers, upgrade pretty much everything. And so some of the kids in my class have these huge houses with all these different pets and things that they've earned through answering all of their questions. It's free, which is another awesome thing about it, and it's really easy to set up student accounts in your classroom.
So this is one of the screens, one of the challenges that I went into briefly. And also there's this toolbar on the side that gives students a chance to draw. They can write if they want to. There's fractions, base 10 blocks, coins, to help them with the problems. Also, there's a help screen that will break down the problem for them. And then also I wanted to share the teacher side of it.
I mean, the students through playing this, they kind of don't realize it's actually math. They think it's just a fun game that they would be playing at home like a video game. Some of my kids who are the hardest to get into math have really enjoyed this in the classroom.
So if you log in as a teacher as well, it breaks down all the standards by area, so you can go into additions, adding 1 through 100, and then you can assign them, kind of like you do on Khan Academy as well. And then you can go into the student reports and see Lorelai got 10 out of 12 questions correct on adding 1 through 100. So it breaks it down by skill and also by student as well.
Thank you. And you can differentiate too.
Yes.
Cool. And last, yes, Meredith, talk about.
I was sick and couldn't go to ICE. So Becky went for me, so I'm glad that she was able to share something. So I thought, well, I'll share something that I'm going to think that they shared at ICE. And I thought Flubaroo would be a nice thing to reintroduce to teachers. I know we've talked about it before in the past, but Flubaroo is an add-on in Google that you can use to have your quizzes graded. So what you would do is you set up a quiz in Google Forms. You want to make sure you add a place for the student's name and for your email address to get reports. You then you'll get a URL for the quiz, and then you take the quiz to set up the key so that Flubaroo knows what the correct answers are. Then you can share the link to the quiz, to the which is the form link, to your students. You can put that on your website, or you can have it a link on one of your classroom computers. The form, when you create the form, it recreates a responses sheet. And when you open the responses sheet, you go to add-ons and you search for Flubaroo in the add-on store. So then you get Flubaroo. You say, I want to get Flubaroo, and then it becomes one of your add-ons in your Google Sheets. So then you go to add-ons. The first time you have to enable Flubaroo. Then when you return, it say, okay, do you want to use Flubaroo? So then you can grade your assignment. So you click grade assignment, and Flubaroo walks you through the process. It tells you to, here's what you've asked for. How many points do you want for these questions? Then you choose, out of all the students listed, what's going to be the key. So what has the correct answers? Then, then it tells you, okay, it's graded, you can go on. And this is what you see. And that's Flubaroo. There are some other pieces that you can have that all emailed to you. And then you can email the results to parents, or you can tell the kids all about it. So it's all a matter of creating a form and using Flubaroo to grade it. That's it.
Well, thanks to all the presenters. Again, this is just to whet your appetite. Please talk to the experts, get into each other's classrooms. If you need some time, maybe Sue and I can jump in the classroom to take over while you go visit someone else's classroom. Have a great day. Thanks.